y'all. I am sorry. I was supposed to go live 45 minutes ago. I am absolutely going to blame Mercury retrograde shadow period for me not being able to access YouTube live. But I really wanted to make a video after something that I saw on Facebook this morning that was absolutely disturbing, not the way I wanted to start my day. It was some absolute bullshit. So woke up this morning and I was perusing Facebook and I saw a post by Nina Wilson that basically was like, "Oh, the Orisha are black," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty common knowledge that the Orisha are black." And so I started reading the comments, and it was referencing an elder, a Madrina, who basically was saying that the Orisha come from Egypt, that Egypt was not in Africa, and that the Orisha could be mulatto. And I try not to get in my feelings about the Orisha. I have been told this month by several people that I need to watch my mouth. So I already knew that February was going to be a month that was going to push a lot of my buttons and getting me to say stuff that I'm not supposed to be saying, which could be very bad for me. And so I have been trying to temper what I say and how I react to things this month, just trying to get to March. And what really unsettled me about this was that this person who is claiming to be a Madrina or an elder was an elder to someone who I consider a friend. And I was just like, one, this post was very anti-black, and my friend is black. Two, it was just spreading a lot of false information regarding the Orisha. And, I made a post this morning in my mini rant stage and was like, hey, the Orisha are black. The Orisha are blackity, blackity, black. The Orisha come from West Africa. Not really sure where this whole belief that the Orisha originated in Egypt came from, or the fact that Egypt is not a part of Africa. Middle East, whatever, it's all on the African continent. And so I really wanted to carve some time out of my very busy day just to talk about the importance of selecting an elder in this tradition. And before I even get into that, I just want to run down who I am and why I even have any type of, hey, coach, how are you? I wanted to kind of break down, why I even have an authority to kind of speak on this. So I am an initiated Ifa and Egbe priestess. I am Ianifa Orabimi Egbeyo Yensala. I was initiated in the West African tradition. I have made my year. It was a year in January 19th to be exact, since I was initiated. My godmother, actually my godparents. My godmother is Oyawumi Ajala. My godfather is Shangawale Ajala. They are from the Ajala compound in Oshogbo, which is a part of Nigeria. So I practice traditional West African Orisha practice, commonly known in the diaspora as a sheshe. And so that is the lenses I am speaking from. I do not practice Lakumi. I do not practice Santeria. Our Ile does not practice a mix. We have a Nigerian. I've been super busy with work. We practice West African Orisha tradition. My Baba, or he is from Nigeria. And so that is the lens that I am speaking from. Um, there are some key things that we in the diaspora, and when I say we, I mean Black people in the diaspora, need to really, really look at when we are selecting elders. There are three key questions that I was told way, way, way back when I first started my journey in this tradition that I needed to be able to ask anybody, and any elder should be able to answer. One, anybody who is in this tradition should be able and willing to run down their lineage and their house the same way I just did, the same way I just told you what my name is, the lineage that I was initiated in, and who my godparents or my elders are. Anybody should be able to do that for you, no matter how old they are in the tradition. If someone is unwilling to do that, that is a big red flag. Um, Also, it is not uncommon to ask somebody who initiated them. It is not being disrespectful. It's just, you want to make sure that this person was initiated the right way, and has all of the rights and responsibilities that come with being an elder. And also, sometimes you want to ask somebody, usually it's already a given by their name of what Orisha they're under. Again, like I said, I'm initiated to both Ifa and Egbe. My godmother is initiated to Oya, Oshun, Ifa. My godfather is initiated to Shango, Ifa, and a whole list of other ones. So someone who is an elder or someone who is initiated should be able to tell you who they're initiated under. I know that there is this big thing in the diaspora to want to rush and know who your head Orisha is. That is a diaspora thing. So some people who are not initiated can tell you who their head Orisha is, but again, that's just a big, diaspora thing, and I want to rush to know those things. But those three questions that I just listed are three questions that you should be able to ask anybody who you are considering being your elder. Something else that I really think that people need to take their time and do is figure out, truly sit down and figure out what lineage they want to follow. For me, one of the very first divinations that I got when I was interested in Orisha practice was asking my ancestors, were they okay with me practicing this tradition? And one of the answers that I got during that divination from the Babalao was, your ancestors give you their blessing to practice Isheshe. And I took that probably a little too literally, but I took that as, this is what they're saying I can do. And so I did not want to practice a mix. Now, granted, almost every Orisha Ile here in the diaspora mixes something. I would be hard pressed to find a true, just straight Asheshe West African Ile here that has not incorporated some diasporic something into it. But I want it to be as pure Isheshe as possible. I did not want to practice Lukumi. That is not what my ancestors said. My ancestors said they gave me their blessing to practice Isheshe. And so I left my first Ile because they were practicing a mix and calling it Isheshe, and they were misleading the students and the Ile members. That's another thing. If you're talking to an elder, you can ask them, what is your lineage? Are you practicing Lakumi? Are you practicing a mix? Are you practicing Isheshe? And if they're not honest about it, do you honestly want them to be your elder? If they can't honestly tell you how they're practicing and what they're practicing, and if they are incorporating things from different lineages in their practice. I will say there is no right or wrong. Orisha practice is Orisha practice. I always tell people who come to me and ask about this, I say, you have to find the lineage, the branch, the practice that works for you, that is with you, that aligns with your Ori or your head, that for me, that your ancestors gave you the blessing to practice. And so my ancestors said, practice the Sheshe. And so that's what I set out to do. But what I really want to drive in is like, you have to take that time for yourself to figure out what practice is for you, what practice works for you. I know that a lot of people who are in the practice may practice other things. So they may also practice hoodoo. They may also read tarot. They may also read oracle cards. They may read playing cards. They may have some other sort of divination tool that is available to them outside of what is practiced in Orisha practice. Consult your divination tools. This is not consulting. I am not saying consult your divination tools about Orisha. That needs to stay within the divination tools that are set and prescribed for Orisha practice. I'm saying consult your divination tools and ask your ancestors about these people before you go to choosing them as your elder. Ask your divination tools to ask your ancestors about the lineages. And if that aligns with what your ancestors say is okay, or what your Ori says is okay, do your research. Do not be so quick and in a hurry to find an elder and find an Ile and find out who your head Orisha is and get initiated before you do your research. We are in the year of 2020. Google is available. Social media is available. Reach out to people who are initiated already. Reach out to people who maybe not be initiated but have been in the Ile for an extended amount of time. Do your research about the members of the Ile. Do your research about the elder, because the worst thing is to join an Ile and you don't even get along with your god siblings. What's the point of that? People are just in such a hurry to acquire Elekes or an Ide or a Yoruba name, or to figure out who their head is, or to get initiated. And let me tell you something, it's not what you think it is. It's a lot of work. And it is a big commitment, and it is a lot of money. And you will spend your time wasting time and wasting money by rushing into this. Take your time and find the elder that is for you. Use your divination tools that are out for you. Use your brain and research. Ask around. Ask plenty of questions related to something other than who's my head Orisha. Get divinations by this person, several divinations by this person, before you just up and say, oh, after the first divination, I'm going to become a member of your Ile. I made that mistake. I did it so that you don't have to. Get several divinations. Get to know these people. Go to public events that they have. Talk to Ile members. Excuse me. Talk to other elders. If you are a good elder and you have a good reputation, regardless of what lineage you practice, there are going to be other elders who will vouch for you and vouch for your work and vouch for your authenticity. Take your time. That's my biggest thing, is we have to slow down and we have to take our time in this tradition, because it's a lifelong learning practice. There's not going to be a single elder who knows everything. And again, you have to figure out which branch is for you. You know, does your Ori and your ancestors align with Lakumi? Does your Ori and your ancestors align with Santeria? Does your Ori and your ancestors align with Isheshe? Do your ancestors and Ori align with Condoble or Shango Baptist? Or, whatever they're practicing down in Mexico, which I just learned there was a Orisha practice in Mexico. You have to find what you and your Ori and your ancestors align with. There's just so much out there in the diaspora that is present. And just take time and sit with it. I will tell you about how I found my godmother, or should I say how my godmother found me. First of all, I bumped into my godmother. I saw her for the first time at Daughters of the Moon 2018. And she walked into the facility and I was sitting next to another Aborisha, and I said, "Who is that?" I'm like, "I know her from somewhere. Who is that?" And she was like, "Oh, that's Oyahumi. Like, she's on Facebook." And I'm like, "I don't follow her on Facebook." But her spirit was very familiar to me. I had never seen her before. I had never met her before, but her spirit was very, very familiar to me. And I didn't introduce myself to her. I didn't say anything to her. I just really sat in awe that day of the energy that she gave off. And fast forward, I was initiated in January. And shortly after I was initiated, my Ile was dissolved. She's my egg She is an astral acquaintance. She is my egg. But my Ile was dissolved. And so my Baba, my elder, came to me and said, "I am going to reach out to Oyawumi and ask her to train you. You are newly initiated. You need an elder to train you. I'm not going to be able to do it." And I said, "Okay." And here I am with new shrines and new all this. And all I could do was go down and kneel before my shrines and pray and ask my shrines that this woman accept me into her Ile and that this woman train me. And I prayed that prayer and I prayed that prayer. And one day I reached out to her on Facebook Messenger, and I asked her if we could talk, and we exchanged phone numbers. And I called her and I said, "My godfather said that he was going to reach out to you to ask you to train me." And she said, "Oh, yeah, he did that." And she talked about what was required for training and what was required if I was to be a part of her Ile. And she said, "I got to go ask Ifa what Ifa says." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "I'll get back with you in a couple of days." And so while she was going to ask Ifa what Ifa said about me becoming a part of her Ile, I'm over here asking Ifa, "Please, please, 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 let me become a part of this woman's Ile." And so she went and asked Ifa, and Ifa said yes. And I praised Ifa because Ifa had answered my prayer. And she said, "Do you realize that there's a waiting list? Like, there's a very long waiting list to get in this Ile. And I don't really accept godchildren who don't live where I live." And I said, "You are close enough for me to drive. I will be present at everything that I can be present to. Anytime I need to be there, I will be there." And I've kept that. It is a 5.5-hour drive from Cleveland to the Metro DC-ish area where she is. I make that drive happily. I am actually making that drive in a couple of weeks. I'm excited. I always get excited to go see my godparents. But that is just one of the sacrifices that I made. My EA feels like home to me. My God siblings feel like they are blood siblings to me. My godparents are an absolute blessing to me. I have learned so much in this almost year that I would have been with my current Elay. She and I have taken a trip to Cuba together, so we actually got to see Regla de Ocha, which a lot of us here in the stateside call Santeria. So we got to see that in person. We got to talk to us there, and it did not happen because it poured down raining our last day there. But just that was a bonding experience that I got to spend some one-on-one time with my elder. And we got to actually look at other traditions. And that's just me, praying to Ifa and asking Ifa to make sure that I had the right person. She had come to me even before she was recommended to me by the elder who initiated me. Her spirit had already reached out to me and said, you and I belong together. And so those are things that I say you have to look for. You have to look for that connection. If the connection isn't there, if the draw isn't already there, if they're not coming recommended, these are all red flags. Like, there has to be something there that says that this is the godparent for you. This is the Elay for you, other than just rushing into it because you need an Elay or you need godparents. A saying that is coming to me is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that has always been the case for me in this tradition. When I was ready for the next step, the person who was supposed to take me on that journey appeared. When it was time for me to get my one hand of Ifa, my elder that needed to give it to me appeared. I had taken off my E-days. I had taken off my Alekes. I was done with this tradition because I had been burnt and I had been lied to and all kinds of things happened. And I had taken off everything and put it in a drawer. I had all but covered up my warriors at the time. Everything. I was done. And this elder appeared out the blue and really explained to me that what happened to me happens very frequently in the diaspora. People are lied to, people are given false shrines, people are practicing as elders and don't know any better. They're practicing out of a book. All types of crazy stuff is happening. But that you have to do your research and you have to be patient and diligent. And even when I had given up on the Orisa didn't give up on me. They sent me the elder that I needed at that time. And just like they sent me my godparents, they sent me the godparents that I need, because my godmother literally stays in my ass about everything. And that's what I need. Somebody who's going to stay in my ass and make me do what I'm supposed to do. But that's important. And all of this for me came with time and patience. When I started in this tradition, I started researching Santeria because there was information readily available online about Santeria. And when I had read enough books and figured out that this one ain't for me, Then I had moved on to, well, okay, in the continental United States, stateside, there's Lakumi, and Black people practice Lakumi, and Lakumi people don't hide their, or they don't secretize. I'm not going to use the word hide. They don't secretize the Orisha in the Catholic saints. And that's why I was like, okay, this is more my thing. And then I went to researching Lakumi. And after a few months, I was like, nope, this ain't for me. This ain't it. Not going to be able to do it. Because to me, it felt like the Christian church a little bit. So I got Christian church vibe, even though that may not be it. I was just like, it's not for me. This is not what I want. And so then I took my research to the origin. I wanted to research where the Orisha came from. How was the Orisha originally practiced, where they came from? How did the Orisha get to the diaspora? And when I had found out about Isheshe, I was like, this is it. This is what I want. And then that goes back to, I researched and read books and did all this until I got to a point where there was nothing left in a book. Because again, this is an oral tradition. And I had to find a person. I needed to talk to a person, an elder. And so I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I needed an elder, and I couldn't find an elder in Cleveland, Ohio. They real underground here. They real quiet here. Not say there's a large community here. I just could not find them at the time. And I reached out again to this friend. Hey, Tam. I reached out to Tam, and I was like, I need to find an elder. Is it okay if I ask your godmother? And so I asked Tam's godmother, and Tam's godmother directed me to an elder in Detroit. And Detroit is 2.5 hours away. 2.5. And I was like, I can do that. I can drive. Yeah, I'm the queen of getting in the car and going somewhere. And so I drove all the way to Detroit for a divination. That's it. I went to meet this elder. I went to get a divination, and I met the elder, and I got the divination. And that is when my ancestor said, we give you our blessing to practice Isheshe. And I thanked the elder for my divination, and I drove back home. And from that point, I met with the elder several more times. I got a couple of more divinations. I came to events that they were having in Detroit. I met with the Egbe, because he calls his an Egbe and not an Ile, but I met with the Egbe. And, I was like, okay, I can vibe with this. I can get with this. And I went through all of that before I allowed him to put alekes on me, which again, aleke ceremony is a Lakumi thing and not a Isheshe or West African Orisha practice thing. But again, I'm still in learning mode. So didn't understand this. And so I had my aleke ceremony and got my alekes, join this Egbe. And the point is, I took my time. I did not rush. When I went to Detroit for the first time, I wasn't like, yes, I'm going to join your Egbe right now. I took time and I researched him and his Egbe throughout social media. I asked another elder from someone who I trusted. I went and got several divinations first. I did all of these things to make sure that I wasn't just rushing into something. And again, he was the teacher I needed at the time. I learned a lot from my time there. And when it was time for me to go, it was time for me to go. There was no hard feelings. I still love him. I still support him. It wasn't any hard feelings. It was just like, this is not home for me. And I really want to, and I'm really trying to impress upon everybody who is an Aleo, who is an Aberrisha, who, is uninitiated, that don't rush it. Take your time. Don't be so quick to join the first Ile that you go and visit. Don't be so quick to allow someone access to your Ori and your Ashe. Don't be so quick to attach yourself to something because you want to practice. You have an Orisha sitting on your head that you were born with, regardless of your guiding Orisha. Your Ori can never leave you. All these other Orisha can leave you and desert you. Your Ori, though, will never leave you. And as long as you appropriate your Ori and you're taking care of your Ori also will not steer you wrong. And so in this journey, take time and pray to your Ori and ask your Ori for guidance on your journey, to send you and to give you the people that you need. Pray to your ancestors, because Lord, we love our ancestors. Pray to your ancestors and ask your ancestors for guidance. Ask your ancestors about these elders. Ask your ancestors about the Ile. Because if something don't sit right with them, it probably ain't right. If something doesn't sit right with your Ori, it probably ain't right. But do not be so quick to run into something. Don't be so quick to jump into something. Orisha worship, Orisha practice. The Orisha are blackety black, black. I will say it again. If someone is trying to erase the blackness of the Orisha, run like hell. That's a red flag. That is not the Ile for you as a Black person. Don't even think twice about it. Don't blink, nothing, leave. Even in Regla de Ocha, where most of the Orisha are syncretized with white saints, Yemaya or Yemoja is blackety black, black. They will tell you in Cuba that the Orisha come from Africa, specifically the Yoruba people. Do not let anyone erase the blackness of the Orisha. Do not partake in the foolishness of the erasure of the blackness of the Orisha. If you see that, run and find you another elder. It is okay to leave an Ile. I will say that again. It is okay to leave an Ile. Some people feel indebted to their elders. Some people feel indebted to their elay. If your elders and your elay are not helping you to progress in your practice, if they are not helping you to become a better person with a better character, Iwapuele, if they're not helping you to work towards that, leave. It is not about what you can do for the elder. Being an elder is a big responsibility. You take on the spiritual development of your children. That becomes your responsibility as an elder. I think some elders take this whole godchildren thing very lightly. The word children, that means that I'm responsible, which is why I ain't gonna be no godmama. No time soon. Look, I got birth children I done birthed, and I'm like, look, can I give up parenting? Can I protest parenting? It's hard work to be a parent. It is even harder work to be a parent to a grown ass person where you have to train them, break down and rebuild up how they think about a religion or religion period. Because I imagine that a lot of us here in the diaspora have to erase a Christian mindset and be retrained in the mindset of Orisa practice. That is not an easy job. That is not something to be taken lightly. Excuse me. I'm not even going there about Oshun and how she's only for the light-skinned people. That one irks me. That irks me. Also, they want to make Oshun all nice and pretty and love and light, and Oshun might kill you before Oya, but that's a whole nother story. Just take your time. Imagine this as you are getting to select your parents. These people who are your elders are your parents. They are responsible for your spiritual growth. They are responsible for your spiritual safety. They are your spiritual parents. I don't think that we should take that as lightly as we do, both as godchildren and godparents. The things that your godparents do or don't do can affect you as a godchild spiritually. For example, I had a godparent who was not abiding by his taboos. That rolled down, that trickled down to affect his godchildren. People was wondering why they couldn't keep money. They was losing money. They was losing their jobs. It seemed like everybody in the Elay had some kind of turmoil and upheaval going on because the elder was not doing what the elder was supposed to be doing for himself. And that affected his godchildren. So think about that You want someone who is upright, who is going to do right for themselves. Because if not, that can have an effect on you. This is more than who is my head Orisha so that I can go post that on social media. This is more than necklaces and bracelets. This is even more than altars unliving and shrines living in your house. This is serious stuff. And if you are not following the right elder, it can be detrimental and deadly. And I'm not just saying that as a scare tactic. I have witnessed my life be in upheaval and chaos. I have also witnessed immense blessings because of what I did and didn't do, and what my elder did and didn't do. It should not be taken lightly when you're selecting an elder. It should not even be taken lightly when you're selecting a lineage. Because I realize that a lot of us have choices now where that choice wasn't always so readily available in the past. There are people who are born into their lineage, and that lineage is all that they know. And that's okay. But if you are 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, and you're just now starting out on this journey, you have a choice, and you have the responsibility to make sure that you are making wise choices and wise decisions, because that can affect your life. That can affect your children's lives. Take your time, do the research on the elder. Take your time, do the research on the lineage first before you even get to an elder. Do your research. Don't be so quick to jump. Do your research. Don't be so quick to get shrines in your house either, because tending to them is a lot. Ask me who have to wake up at 4:00 in the morning. Well, when I was a teacher and had to leave for work. Wake up at 4:00 in the morning to tend to my shrines before I had to leave my house for work at 6. Do your research. Oh, look, yes, please do not be pressed for sure. Look, ma'am, and you don't even have as many as I do. Imagine. I got double shrines in my house. I got 2 Ifas, 2 Eshus. I'm sorry, I got 3 Eshus. 2 Egbe's, a Oya. Taking care of all them shrines is a lot of work. Ose Ifa, yeah, that's always a good 2 to 3 hours for me. Because I get down there and if I want to talk, ma'am, let me tell you how I have my son do Ose for me when my cycle on, because my godmama won't let me use that as an excuse not to do Ose. She was like, you got a boy in the house, he can do it for you. I am always doing work. And I'll talk about the little boy and he walked through the video. But yeah, do not rush for this. Do not rush. Take your time. Be patient. Um, Shameless plug. I am currently working on a curriculum that is a Orisha practice 101, very, very basic for Aleos. There may be some good information in there for Avaricious too, but it's mainly just a lot of red flags and things to be on the lookout for, things that you should kind of know about the Orisha before you go to looking into lineages and looking into godparents. Uh, Elizabeth Ruth over at Big Liz Conjure has been trying to get me to do this series for a minute, and last night I was leaving the airport at 12:30 in the morning on my way home, and literally the outline for the first class like just came to me and was like, you need to share this with these people. The people need this. And Spirit said do it, so now I got to do it, because I don't want to be disobedient, because that leads to very bad things happening to me. So I am going to be creating this series and presenting this series through Big Liz Conjure, just about basic stuff that you need to know about Orisha practice. Some of the tackling some of the myths that are out there, and some of the red flags that you need to look for when it comes to things that you're seeing online, through social media, things that may be passed around from elders. I'm just, I really want us to do better when it comes to the Orishas. I want us to get back to what Orisha worship really is about. Again, it's an oral tradition. So a lot of times things that are in the book things that are in books can be great, but there's some things that are left out intentionally, or misinterpreted because of different dialects that come through the Yoruba language. And so I feel that I am called to, really tackle those things that are not true. Oh, yes, ma'am. I'll get to that in 1 second, but I want to tackle that. And Tam is saying, to talk about how this work can be physically demanding. If you are on the mat and you start your work. So I talked about how when I was a teacher, I would get up at 4:00 to do Osei, or to do my offerings and prayers. And let me tell you about my best friend Eshu, because I love my best friend Eshu to death, but my best friend Eshu required that I pray to him daily for several months. Again, the result of that was I was able to buy my house in cash. But again, that required me to pray to Eshu daily for months. And you get down there and you start talking to the Orisha, and you be like, I got to get up and go to work. And the Orisha be like, I don't care. We not done. And I'd be like, but Eshu, I got to go. And Eshu was like, we can't close because I'm not done talking yet. And I'd be like, okay. And so you can't go. Like you can't do that. The Orisha will wake you up at all times of night. I am Omo Egbe. Egbe will come to me in my sleep and deliver all types of messages, some for me, some for other people. They don't care. They will drop them clean off. Just doing Osei for me is every 4 days. So literally every 4 days, I have to give offering. To all my shrines. It's every 4 days. There's an actual Yoruba calendar that we follow. And so again, that's every 4 days. Ifa is like, we gonna spend an hour together today. cool, Ifa, that's nice. And then like I go on to Egbe, and Egbe was like, you know what? We can also spend an hour together today. And I'd be like, Egbe, sit down here and sing to me. I want you to sing to me. I want you to pray to me. I want you to tell me everything. And I'll be like, Egbe. Egbe be like, keep praying. Okay. And this is just as an initiate that this is demanding. Imagine being a godparent. Hats off to my godmama. I love her. But baby, I can only imagine. We were talking the other day amongst our Elay about Ebo. And Jamel Cherry had made a post on Facebook about how he did 9 Ebo in one day. And I'm like, I cannot. One Ebo is usually at a minimum 2-3 hours. And he did not. That means he was doing Ebo from sun up to sundown. And maybe after sundown. It is physically taxing to do that type of work. I, because I'm initiated, can offer animals to my shrines. Blood takes me clean out every single time. Goodbye. Every single time. Being mounted is not fun. I'm sorry. If somebody comes back from being mounted telling you being mounted it's not fun. It is draining to have that much energy put in your physical little body. Like I am usually down for days after being mounted. Even after just a blood sacrifice, an animal sacrifice, my whole body for at least 2 days is just high energy. I feel it it rides my shoulders. Like it's not for the weak. It is not for the faint. This isn't a fad. This isn't something that you're going to pick up and say, I'm going to do this today, and you're going to put it down tomorrow. Please be sure that this is something that you are invested in 100%. Shrines, actual shrines. I'm not talking about altars that you constructed that look real pretty and got all the Orisa colors and all this stuff. I'm talking about living shrines in your house. That's like having a living person in your house. You cannot neglect it. You cannot let a shrine sit in your house and not go talk to it and not go feed it and not go. You can't do that. That's like neglect. That's like child neglect. You can't have a child in your house and not feed the child, and not bathe the child, and not, take care of the child. Your shrine is the same way. You have to do it. So if you want to consider your shrine, your living shrine, like a child, so that you understand the responsibility, then do that. And yes, Tam, everyone is not called to be initiated. Also, every initiated person, they don't immediately become a priestess, a high priestess, an elder. I hate to even use my title Ianifa, even though that is a title that has been conferred upon me, because when you use the title, people automatically think you can divine and you can do this and you can do that. Nope. I do not have the authority to divine for anybody but myself and my family. I'm not getting cussed out by my ear talking about I divined for somebody using Obi. Yeah. I don't even. You see what my Twitter description says? Initiate of Ifa and Egbe. I don't even want to put up there E and Ifa. Nope. Do not. Everybody that is initiated is not called to be a priestess. Some people initiate for different reasons. I'm gonna fight you. Some people literally have to get initiated to save their life. That does not mean that they are initiated to divine for people, or they're initiated to do work for people, or they're initiated to be a godparent. Unfortunately, that was in my destiny to be somebody's godparent. I promise I'm gonna be old and on a cane before I do it, though. But people are initiated for different reasons. And so everybody that's initiated is not a priestess. Everybody initiated don't need godparents. And everybody does not have to be initiated. Everybody is not called to be initiated. That is not everybody's destiny. Sometimes it's okay to just be the Aleo. Sometimes it's okay to not have a head Orisha. Because guess what? Not everybody got one. Like, for the longest, I was told that my head Orisha was Yemoja. For the longest, it kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up. Yemoja is my family Orisha, which is something completely different. And I'll get into in a class what the family Orisha are. She is a family Orisha. She is Orisha that is in my family. She is not my head Orisha. I love her to death, though. And when it was divine and it came out that Egbe had my head, I was like, I did not know how to feel. Because depending on the lineage and depending on who you ask and depending on a lot of stuff, Egbe is not technically an Orisha. It is a class of spirits, almost like how the Iyami Asaronga, the mothers, they are not Orisha. They are a class of their own. The Egbe is the same way. They're a class of their own outside of Orisha. And so when I went before Ajalamopen and Lord Arumala and Obatala and all of them, and I was coming to the earth, and when I chose all that, apparently Egbe was just like, you don't need nobody but us. We got you. And I was like, cool. And so I came to earth to fulfill my destiny after I made that choice. And Egbe was like, we got you and you got us. And that's it. And so for a while, I sat with that and I didn't know how to feel about that. Because one, not a lot of people know who Egbe is or know what Egbe is or know about Egbe. Like when we went to Cuba and I would say that I'm initiated to Egbe, they was like, who, what's that? And then I would say Iyalode, which is my class of Egbe. And they be like, oh, Oshun. And I'm like, and after a while, I just got tired of explaining. And so I didn't. And then also, I'm going to pull these out. The colors of the Egbe. So my Alekes for Egbe, they are multicolored, but they're yellow. And so they was like, oh, no, that's just a Rhoda Oshun. And I'm like, no, it's not Oshun. And so it's like, okay, well, nobody really knows who Egbe is. And Egbe is kind of new to the United States. And so I was like, well, nobody know me and nobody, and I felt that kind of way. And then I had to come to the realization that having Egbe was not about who knew who Egbe was and who understood Egbe and who understand. Having Egbe was about, get down, Sebastian. Having Egbe was about me and my destiny and what was best for me and how Egbe could help me stay on the path of my destiny and how Egbe was here to help me and to guide me. And after a while, I was just like, I don't care that people don't understand what Egbe is. Maybe it's my job to educate people about Egbe and to teach about Egbe as a priestess of Egbe. That's a part of my job, is to, get that information out there and disseminate that information to the point where my ear wants me to do an Egbe festival. So that is something that may be coming, not this year, maybe next year. but she wants us to do an Egg Bay festival here in the United States. But that helped deepen my relationship with Egg Bay. Getting on the mat and getting in front of my shrines and crying in front of Egg Bay and getting a response and getting the love and them reassuring me that, again, when I was in heaven or a room, that they chose me and I chose them and we gonna ride this out, I'm cool. And so people are just so quick to want to get their head marked and want to know who their head Orisha is. And it's like, but what are you going to do with that information? How are you going to use that? How is that going to shape your Orisha practice? It is more important to know how to pray and how to take care of the Orisha and how to take care of the shrines and to learn about all of the different things that are required of you as a practitioner before you go to getting your head marked. And now you got this Orisha, or, even getting a shrine. And now you have this Orisha that you have to take care of and that you have to build a relationship with. These things are important. And these are things that your godparents should be explaining to you before they even put a eleke around your neck or they put an ide on your wrist. You should know what that eleke. Yeah. Very, very, and Egg Bay varies by region, because in some parts of Nigeria, they don't even initiate to Egg Bay. Like some tribes say you can initiate, some tribes say you can't. Yeah, like Egg Bay did not make that initial trip across the waters when the other Orisha came. Egg Bay came across the waters real frequently. I'm sorry, in the more recent times. But those are things like before you get an ide and before you get alekes and all that, you should understand what you're putting on your body. What's the purpose of the aleke and the ide? Why are you even wearing it? What do the colors represent? And no, it's not just because, Ifa colors are green and brown and Oshun color is yellow. Why? Why is Oshun color yellow? What significance does it have? Why are Ifa's colors green and brown? What does that represent? Why does Lukumi use green and yellow instead of green and brown? What does the yellow in the ide that the Lukumi use stand for? You need to be able to answer these things before you even put these things on your body. Your elder should be teaching you these things. Why are the Orisha associated with certain elements? Why are their days what their days are? Regardless of if you're using the Yoruba calendar and it's the 4-5 day calendar, or you're using the traditional American calendar and it's a day of the week. Why is Eshu's Day on Monday in the diaspora? These are things that you should know before you put any implement on your body, before you join anybody's Egg Bay. There is a level of knowledge that you should have. There are things that you should sit and study with an elder. Because again, this is an oral tradition. These are not things that you should readily accept out of a book. You need to be sitting and talking with the elder. I love my elder because she's nice enough to have Zoom class for me when I can't sit in front of her. There are ways for this tradition to be spread orally in the year of 2020. where you can't use your excuse of, I can't find an elder in my city. Broaden your horizons. I traveled 2.5 hours for my first elder. My second elder was all the way in Atlanta. So I traveled from Cleveland to Atlanta. I now currently travel from Cleveland to the DC Metro. Because having the right elder for me is super important. It is a matter of spiritual health, spiritual safety, and life and death. It is not something to choose lightly. Again, if the elder says that the Orisa are white, mulatto, and anything other than blackity black black and from West Africa, run. I would be remiss to say if the elder is saying that the Orisa are a part of another religion or tradition, run. I have actually heard of elders. Look, now you really sounding like my godmother. My godmother be like, so where we going? She's like, she literally wants to take our Elay to experience all of the traditions. So we went to Cuba to see Regla de Ocha. She wanted to take me to Trinidad to see their tradition and how they practice. We want to go to Bahia in Brazil to see how they practice. I want to go to Jamaica to see Obeah since it is now legal again. Like, we're really out here trying to see how the Orisa present themselves all over the diaspora. But yeah, they need to get their money up and be willing to travel. You need to get your money up, period. This tradition is not cheap. If you was complaining about them 10% tithes in church, this ain't it, because it's going to be more than them 10% tithes in church. Ask them $16,000 I spent to initiate me and my son. It is expensive. And that was just initiation. We're not talking about Ebo, when you gotta buy the animals and you gotta pay the priest to do the Ebo. And as an initiated person, my E is like, you need to do Ebo monthly. Also, let me say this. Do not get a divination if you do not have the money to do the Ebo. Please don't do that. You setting yourself up for failure. If you do not have the money to do the Ebo, please go find another form of divination. Do not sit down in front of the Babalao and get an Ifa divination. Do not sit down in front of the Orisa and get an Aaron de Lagoon. Do not do it. Do not do it. If you do not have the money to do the Ebo, don't get the divination, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. Go somewhere and get you a tarot card reading until you can have the money to do the Orisa divination, whether it is Aaron de Lagoon or Opwele, which is the Ifa reading, or a king. Until you can save up the money to be able to afford the reading and the Ebo, don't do it. Always, always, always assume that there is an Ebo if you're going to get a reading in Orisa practice. Whether it is the Ebo to correct some negativity that came up, or it is an Ebo to usher in blessings, the Ebo has to happen. Um, but yeah, just get your money up if this is something that you are serious about. If you are serious about it, you should be praying for money. Again, I prayed to Eshu every day for months because I was unhappy in my living situation and I wanted another house. And Eshu said, pray to me daily. And every time I went and asked Eshu, can I stop praying daily? Eshu was like, do you have your house yet? And so, no, I had to pray daily until I got my house. That was my elbow. Have the money to travel, even if it is within the states. Like I said, 5.5 hours is my drive to my Ile. Sometimes I get lazy and be like, I don't want to drive. And so then I got to get on a plane and rent a car and rent a hotel room, all that. I do it because that is what is required. You cannot be lazy in this tradition. You cannot be cheap in this tradition. It is not a fad. You got to do the work. And I know Dio said he is tired of do the work, and we got to find something else to say. But I'm just being honest. You have to do the work. You have to. If you didn't want to do the work in Christianity and in church, this ain't it. If your godparents don't want to do the work, run. Because that's literally their job as your godparent, is to do the work. Which is, again, why I don't look. I got to do the work for me and for you and for you. I'm good. I'm going to do the work for me, though, because that's required. But take your time. That's my biggest thing. Take your time. 1. 2, research. Research the godparent. Research the tradition. And be able to do and pick what is right for you and your Ori. Researching the Orisa should really be the last thing. Like trying to figure out who your head is, trying to figure out all that, it'll come with time. When you absolutely need to know that, it'll come up in divination. You ain't even got to ask. When you need to know something, the Orisa will tell you, whether you want to know it or not. I'm going to hit this quick myth right quick. It ain't going to come in dreams. Like, your head Orisa is not, I dreamed about Oya, and so Oya is my head. Okay. That ain't it. An official divination by Aaron de Lagoon or Apuele Orikin. That's it. That's it. Take your time, do your research. I'm going to keep repeating that. Take your time, do your research. Go get a reading in the system. Go get a reading outside the system. And what I mean by that is go and consult whatever. Consult your cards, consult your pendulum, consult somebody. Ask somebody about these people that you are considering being your godparents, because your ancestors will tell you hell no. It's up to you to listen, though. Your Ori will tell you hell no. It's up to you to listen, though, and not be so in a rush to do it. That is all I have for today. If you have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at Tres Moon Goddess. Yeah, that's it. You can find me on Twitter. I rarely use Facebook. I am not an elder. I do not take godchildren. Don't ask. I promise I'm gonna have to be an elder for 15 years before I start. My godmama say something different. I'm sticking with my story. But I try to help people as much as possible. I try to spread the truth as much as possible. If you need help, if you have questions about the Orisha, the practice, whatever, I'm always going to speak to you from personal experience and the knowledge that I have gained in my 5+ years practicing. If I do not know, I will definitely refer you out to somebody else. More than likely, it will not be my elder, because that lady busy. Um, but I will refer you out to somebody. I will ask around. I will help you find the elder for you, no matter the tradition that it is. I have friends that practice it all. And I am quick to be like, hey, can you ask your godparent? Can you ask your godparent? Can somebody help me? I do have a very small circle of elders that I am able to reach out to and be like, hey, can you help me? Can you help this person? And so I will do my best to help anybody who is interested in this tradition. My biggest thing is I feel the same way about if anybody's coming to me about tarot. Don't come to me unless you're willing to do the work. So if you are ready and you need help, my doors are open. Just don't come with the bullshit, because I'm going to call it like I see it. But yeah, that's it. I'm going back to work because I done gave y'all an hour and 15 minutes of my time, and I don't put my phone on silent, and my employees are probably blowing my shit up. I'm going back to work. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all later. And